Hi guys, I'm Erica. Welcome to Hack Your Health. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to harvest and dry elderflowers, and then I'll also show you how to make them into an elderflower cordial, which is my favorite way to use them. So you can hear there's a lot of birds around where I am, and you have to keep in mind when you're harvesting elderflowers that the birds are going to eat the berries. So just take 10% or less of the elderflowers in any given area to make sure that there's plenty left for wildlife. So this is what elderflowers look like, and you want to get them when they're in full bloom. There's a kind of yeast in the pollen that will help both medicinally and also with making the cordial ferment properly. And just a little bit about how to find elderflower. It needs to have some light, so it's often in places that are freshly logged or where berries grow. Like beside us here we have some salmon berries. Those are the ones with the pink flowers. I don't know if you can see that. And so it's often with salmon berries and huckleberries where I live. And it's also often at the edge of the woods, for example, at the side of the highway. And they're in season, the flowers, in late April where I live, but it could be earlier or later depending on how far south or north you live, as well as the elevation. Just make sure that you get them from an uncontaminated area that is not a park. So all I'm gonna do is pick some of these flowers by pinching them off and try to get a clean break. So I'm just gonna collect some of these flowers, and then once I have about a large bowl full, I'll be ready to go home and show you how to do the rest. So now I'm back at my house, and I'm gonna leave these out in the backyard for about an hour so that any little critters like this spider that I saw in the woods have a chance to escape. So the next step is to remove the flowers from the stems because the stems are not edible. I keep the small ones intact that the flowers are directly connected to, and then remove the larger stems. So it looks like this, and this process takes a little bit of time. So be prepared to spend 30 or 40 minutes removing the stems from the elderflowers. So this is what it looks like now that the stems have been removed, and at this point you could put this in the dehydrator in order to save it for tea. But we are going to continue on to make the cordial. So you're gonna need 1 kilogram of either sugar or honey. And for some reason, I'm gonna put this directly in the pot. I would actually recommend boiling the water first and then adding the sugar or honey, but either method will work. And then I'm gonna add 6 cups of cold water and put this on the stove because it's gonna need to come to a boil. Next, take 3 to 4 regularly sized lemons, or 2 gigantic lemons is what I'm using, and use the small side of your grater to create a lemon zest. So you're gonna wanna remove all of the yellow part of the outside of the lemons, and make sure that you wash them well, and preferably use organic lemons for this. As you can see, this has created a pretty big amount of lemon zest. And next, I'm just going to remove the white pith because it has more of a bitter taste that we don't need as part of the cordial. I'm gonna add this to the flowers, and then I'm gonna cut up both of the lemons and add those to the flowers as well. Now I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of citric acid, and this is an optional step, but it will help preserve the cordial more effectively to make sure there's no bad bacteria or mold growth or anything like that. And now we have this sugar water, and it's almost at a boil. There we go, it's boiling, and now it is ready. I'm probably gonna let it cool for 10 seconds or so and then pour it over the elderflower mix. And you can just give it a bit of a stir and then cover it with a tea towel and let it sit for 24 hours. So it's the next day, and I'm gonna start by sterilizing my bottles and jars in boiling water for 5 minutes to make sure they're completely clean. And I only have 1 real bottle, so the rest are just going to be mason jars, which is okay. And the next step is to line a sieve with cheesecloth. So you can get cheesecloth at the dollar store or at most grocery stores, and just cut it to be the right size for your sieve. Next, I'm going to place this over a pot. You could also use a large bowl. And this is what it looks like after sitting for 24 hours. I'm going to use a measuring cup to pour this more accurately through the sieve. So just make sure that the cheesecloth doesn't move as you're doing this. And then once you've poured all of it through, you can just grab the corners of the cheesecloth and squeeze out the remaining liquid. And this is what it'll look like afterwards. So I'm going to use my pouring device again and fill up these bottles. Make sure you leave about an inch of room at the top so that if it continues to ferment and expand, it doesn't leak. And these lids are the best if you have them. And if you're using a regular lid, make sure it's not completely tight. So this is my finished product, and I am going to put this in the fridge. It'll keep for up to 6 months. With the remaining flowers, I'm going to put them evenly over the dehydrator and then use these to make tea with. So I'm going to put it at 90 degrees and make sure to stir them every once in a while until they're completely dry, which for me took a few hours. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting. And elderflowers also have medicinal uses, such as they're usually used for colds and flus or fevers, although they do have other uses as well. And if you wanted to use them for that purpose, it's better to just dry them or turn them into a tincture, for example. But I prefer to make them into this drink just because I like it a lot, and it's also a really great gift. A lot of people like elderflower cordial, but it's a bit of a rare item, so there might be a few people that are really excited to receive this. And let me know in the comments if you've made this before or what you would do differently or anything else that you'd like to share. You could also leave video suggestions if you have any ideas of videos that you'd like me to make. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye. It's really, really good. So if you have any elderflowers and you have the opportunity to make this, I would definitely recommend doing it because it is a very, very, very good tasting drink.